Hi, let's get started with our assignment 1. We have 20 questions and we will be answering all of them. First thing we want to do is we want to import our dataset as well as the libraries that we're going to use. Let's run that. And then we're going to um, define our train images and labels as well as test images and test labels from fashion MNIST dataset. Let's run this. It's gonna take some time, and once it's done, and now our first question is it's asking what are dimensions, and our train images is has 60,000 examples, and it's 28 by 28, and our train labels just have 60,000 entries, and our test images have 10,000 examples and it's 28 by 28, and our test labels is 10,000. And the second question is we want to know the lengths of our train labels and test labels, and we use the length function for it. And right here it's showing us the number of examples that are in the data set. And our third question is going to be we're going to display some of the data in train and test labels. And over here, the first 5 of the train labels, and then the other for our test labels. And in question number 4, we're going to show the digital content of image in index 5 in our training data set. So we're going to choose the train images and our index number 5, and we're going to run it, and this is basically what we get in an array. And then we're going to plot the image of the index 5 in our training data set, and for that we're using the I'm show, and we're going to choose our train images, and it's going to be in index 5, and I'm choosing the CMap as magma, and then we're going to show it, and this is the output we receive. And then this is another example of it, just different color. In question number 6, it's asking us what the label is for our index 5 in the train label, and it's the second one in our list. And if we go back up, it means it's a pullover right here. So these are a pullover. And in question 7, we're going to show the digital content of image in index 500 in the testing dataset. So we're going to choose the test images, and we're going to choose the index 500, and once we run it, this is what we get. And now we're going to plot the image of the index 500 in the testing dataset. We're going to do the same thing that we did in the previous question, but this time we're going to choose the index 500. You guys could choose any mapping you guys want. So this is the other one. And in question number 9, it's asking us what the label is in our index 500 in the test label, and we're going to check what it is, and it gives us the second, and it is also a pullover. And then let's get back. And now it means that label index 500 is showing us the image representing a pullover, which we mentioned in our list on top of the document. And this confirms that test images plotted it correctly. And for question number 10, we're going to import models and layers from the Keras library. And let's run this. And now we're going to define a sequential model and call it my network. And in question 12, we're going to reshape the images from 28 by 28 to one column with 784 neurons. We're going to use the flattening method. There are two methods. One of them is mentioned in the book. The book is the deep learning book, and then the video is a 20-minute video about TensorFlow and Fashion MNIST, about Keras. It's about deep learning. I'm going to go with the video option. So to reshape it, we're using the add function, and then we're importing the layers from Keras library, and we're using the flatten. And then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use the layers.dense, and we're going to choose 128. And then we're using the ReLU activation. And in 13, we're going to normalize the image by dividing the image by 255. We're going to use two methods. One of them is from the book, and the other one is from the video. I'm going with the video one. What we do is we're going to define our train and test images. We're going to normalize these. We're going to give them the axis number 1. And let's run it. And now we're going to add a hidden layer that has 512 neurons. And we're going to use the ReLU function. And then let's run this. And now we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're only going to use 128 neurons. And now we're going to add a layer. This is going to be last layer, and it's going to have 10 neuron dense layer, and we're going to use the softmax as the activation. And let's run this as well. We're going to, and why we use the softmax for the last layer and how it works under the hood is that the reason why softmax is commonly used as the final layer in deep learning models is because it transforms the output of the previous layer into a probability distribution. This helps the model make confident predictions, specifically talking softmax maps the raw output values of the previous layer into probabilities by normalizing them so that they all sum to 1. This makes it easier to interpret the model's output as the final prediction is simply the class with the highest probability. And moving on to the next question, our question 17 is going to have two parts. We're going to use two different settings for the compiler, and our first one is going to be our optimizer is going to be atom loss, and atom, and then for our loss function we're going to go with sparse categorical cross entropy, and our matrix is going to be accuracy, and our second option is we're choosing RMS prop for our optimizer, and our loss is going to be categorical cross entropy, and we're still choosing the accuracy for matrix. I'm gonna go with the first one. I'm choosing the atom optimizer, and for 18 we're going to fit the pattern, and we're choosing to go with 10 epochs, and once we run it, it's going to take some time. It's going to go through all the epochs, and we're back after 10 epochs. So as we all can see within our first epochs, we can see that our loss accuracy is very high, and our loss is very high and our accuracy is low. But as we progress through each epoch, we can see that our loss is getting minimized while our accuracy is getting maximized. And in question 19, It asks us how do we compare the fashion MNIST with what we learned in the class using the MNIST dataset, and what can we infer from the differences in the accuracy? What could be the reason for that? Well, the answer to that is simply the fashion MNIST dataset may be more challenging to classify accurately than the MNIST dataset due to the greater variation in appearance of the clothing items. Uh, the accuracy of the models trained on these datasets uh, depends on the complexity of the neural network architecture, the training data, and the optimization algorithm used to train the model. The reasons could be variation in appearance and high dimensionality. And in question 20, we're going to use the evaluate uh, to calculate the achieved accuracy and loss over the test images and labels. And we're going to see if we have an overfitting. And we're going to define our loss value and accuracy value. And then we're going to evaluate the train images and then the train labels. And we're going to print what we define. Let's run this. Okay, and this is what we get. This is our loss value, and this is our accuracy value. It is normal for our loss value to be a little bit lower than um, the last value on our last epoch, and same as our accuracy value. It is normal for it to be a little higher. What we do not want to see is that they're being too close to each other. And do we have an overfitting here? Uh, no, we're not overfitting. Overfitting occurs if the validation accuracy is significantly lower than the training accuracy. It could mean that the model is overfitting to the training data, and we also do not want our last value and accuracy value to be close to each other as well. So therefore, we should be good. And thank you so much for listening.